Good morning, traders. For this, I'm recording for YouTube viewers, so hope you enjoy what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you an update on all the Aussie pairs. At a webinar that I did in August last year, I'll show you that as well. Just to let you know, this morning we took this trade because that's an Aussie news trade and it's going up. It's still in the correction, so it's not clearly going to break out of the entire pattern as yet. We don't know if that is going to happen, but right now we're trying to come back to this stop. So there might be a number of trades more going there. But what I wanted to show you is the long-term version and all the Aussie pairs. So I did a webinar sometime back in October last year. That's a couple of months ago. So you should go and watch this. And I was giving you a view on all the Aussie pairs, telling you that they're going to go into consolidation for a couple of months, and then they're actually going to take off. And we're looking at this consolidation here. This piece going up, making consolidation somewhere either here or higher. In this video, you'll see I showed you the Aussie dollar on the lower time frame. As we go, let me see if I can bring that up. You need to play it probably. So I just want to bring it fast forwarded so you can see the patterns we're looking at. Pause. So if you watch the webinar, you will see that we are saying that the possibility is this could be a running flat. It's going to go up and then consolidate and go, or the consolidation could have been in here. So you would probably see this here if I showed you. Yep. Just go a little more so it can happen. I don't think you can hear this song, but what I'm saying is all the trades here now is going to be short-term trades. So let me pause it here. And this is exactly what happened. This becomes the running flat and it went up. And then you get the bigger consolidation. That's something I'd shown you also. So if you go back here, you can see it's at this point here in the daily. We were at this level here in the daily at this piece. We were here with this piece going up, this piece here going up, and this became the running flat. And this is the next up move, after which, after every impulse, you get a correction. So let me update you quick about that. Show you the pattern again in the weekly. What we're looking at, this is what we're looking at. So go back and watch the webinar and remember, pattern works. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world. Everything will be calculated in. So this move happened. I was like asking, if you want to know why it's going to happen, don't ask me, tell me why that happened. This is why this is happening. Now, this is a good enough correction, which means I wouldn't be surprised if this just continued to go with a lot of pullbacks in on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, maybe even daily pullback. But this is the daily pullback. I don't think we're going to have another one. So thought process after this, it takes off. So hopefully that this takes off. We're looking to retest this stop and probably break it. Now, would we have a bigger flat like this in the top there? Well, I don't know. We'll see when it goes. We'll treat it. That would be good for us because we've traded both directions. On the daily, you can't confirm that this is all the correction, but you can assume that that is all the correction as you trade. If that changes, that means that this correction could get much bigger, which means this here could end up being a much more bigger one. I don't think so. I think this is enough. We do have divergence and all this. So I think this and the speed with which this is going now, it was a bit slow in here. I thought they would retest the low and then go, but we kept trading it. Once we see that there's trade to the upside, we took it and we'll continue to trade it to see if it goes. Now, what if it just drops like this at some point? Well, then yes, we'll probably get this. We'll stay here and then we'll assume that they will make bigger corrections in here before it goes, right? It doesn't matter in the higher time frame, you know the possibilities and it doesn't matter which one happened. Trading it in the 1 hour is pretty easy as long as you have a very good idea of what the pattern could be. This could be all the correction. So as of now, I'm thinking all upside. Right, which is a big, very, very big move to the upside to get to the top. If we actually put it thousands of pips on the 1 hour, that'd be quite a lot. We're not only going to break this top, we're going to go way up more. So that would be hundreds and thousands of pips to the upside, which means you can get the trade almost every day. So put it on the 1 hour, that's a trade, and we're going. I want to update all the pairs for you guys, so I'm going to go through very quick on all the Aussie pairs. Euro Aus, this is a trade we also took this morning, going very well. This trade we took, it's going very well. Big picture of this one is this, right? Big picture of this is this pattern. See, so there is a very, very good chance that this comes back and retests this low, which is copying this move to the downside. And if that happens, then we'll make an assumption that this here was all the correction in the middle because this was pretty slow going up. It never broke that top. And this is coming down as fast as this is coming down, which means there are going to be a lot of corrections in the way, but you can get to the bottom here. Which means the Aussie dollar might be the leading factor to the upside. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't stop and go back up. In that case, we will see it. And if I see that they're structurally changing that on the daily and on the higher time frame, then yes, we will go for those trades. As of now, this is still a consolidation. Remember, these sharp moves are not singular. They just start as one. But then eventually you go, we're coming down pretty sharp. We have another sharp move here. So my thought process is we're going to have a series of running flats. At some point, this one would start to go back up, complete this running flat, probably come back, go back up, complete that running flat, and we might continue to go. And this is what makes wave analysis complex, not complicated. So you might say, okay, he said this thing is going to go down to the bottom on the weekly, and then tomorrow we find that this starts to go up, and you're like, oh, you got that wrong. I've had, traders with no knowledge of wave analysis and pretty much primitive would come and say, hey, look, you just said it's going to go down to the bottom. Look, you just pull back. Guys, this is in the 4 hour and in the 1 hour. You're going to have a lot of pullbacks. What I'm talking about is the bigger structure and the bigger direction you need to focus on. It doesn't mean you can't trade it up on the smaller time frame. There is going to be a lot of pullback. Look at this. See? There is going to be a lot of pullback. But if you know the direction, on this pullback, you use the advantage to sell. Sell. All those would be sell opportunities. And in some of them, you would even have buy opportunities. We do that. We buy sometimes. And we see that it's, on the 1 hour you trade, there will be opportunities both direction. But you must have a sense of what it's doing generally. Because if you don't, then you'll be lost in the chart. So basically, we're looking for that. And I am pretty sure we're going to get one more of this up, just like we bought this. If we get another flag here, we will buy it. If we get a flag here, we'll buy this one because we have an idea what it could do. Right? And then we'll be looking for the sell again. So let me go through this one very quick. Pangos, same structure, same pattern, same everything. Showed you this also. And you can see the sells we had here. Now, this might be slightly different, and there's a reason for that. Right? This move up is pretty sharp. This move down is pretty sharp. This was the correction. Clearly, that was the correction. The problem is we have got a very big correction in this impulse going down. And when I see that, I'm tending to think that we are going to have a more complex pattern. I'm not going to go to the details of that now because that'd be too difficult to do. So I would not be surprised if this actually stops at some point and literally go back up like this. I'd make a new high. That would not surprise me for a possible flat or running flat, even coming and break the low and then doing that. But if it breaks the low and go back up, then I would assume that, well, this is a 3-wave structure in the C wave. So this would be an A, a B, and the 3-wave structure in the C wave, after which we're going to go back up. So there's still a lot more to the downside there. If you remember, I showed you this in my webinar when we were in this level, that this is going to drop because that's what we expected to do. We showed you this pattern and tell you at some point they're going to break out of this correction to the downside. So keep an eye on it. Right now we're selling. But this one, I'll be more cautious in the sell because at some point, I think this could go back up. If it keeps making flag, we keep selling it. That's simple. Right? You can see we were selling it here. We sold it even at the top there. Some of my traders got it. We sell there. We sold here. There were a number of sells in this piece here too. Those were break-even trades. There were a number of sells in this piece for break-even trade, and there are a number of sells on this piece coming down. This was the last trade this morning. Aussie Swiss. Let's go back to the weekly. Show you the Aussie Swiss pattern, the bigger one. You should watch the first webinar because then you're going to have a clearer understanding of what we're looking at, right? You've got a sharp impulse. I showed you this, that this is a complete flat and this would go back up. If you're going to watch the first webinar, you'll see it. And then we turn into a bigger correction. Now, this doesn't look like all the correction. To me, that really doesn't look like all the correction. Something is missing in this piece. So I would not be surprised if this actually turns out to be a bigger correction in this range. Which means this goes up, come down like this goes up like that, maybe even pull back a little, make a new high, come back down here, and then go. Because this is too sharp, it is too short in time. So it's telling me that we might be stuck in this, like this one here, see? If you had your first pull back like this, and then this started to come down here, you don't make an assumption that that's all the correction. So the first pull back, this up move. See what happens? It ends up taking a much longer time here to make this flat before it finally drops. So I think we might end up with something like that in here, right? These two sharp waves, and then you start to get the correction coming here. You start going back up there, coming here, going back, and then you eventually break out. that probability, that's much higher. And if it starts to do it and you can see it, then literally you see how you can take advantage of that, right? Aussie yen, this one also took off. Again, I don't think we're looking, if we're looking at Aussie yen, right, with this running flat in the middle here, and we're looking at this move up to give us an equivalent here with this move, then you can see that this correction is nothing compared to this correction here, right? So when you see a small correction like that and compared to the bigger one, a correction that compared to the bigger one, what you're thinking is that at some point it will stop, like this may have a small one here and a small, it will stop and it will come back for a much deeper correction before you finally make that one up. Because we didn't break the low, so we know this is the B part of it, right? So we're going up, but I don't think it's totally going to get all the way to the top there, which means, again, you have to be, like the pound horse, you have to be cautioned that this might not be all of it, right? And on the daily, sorry, bring it back to the daily. Let me see if we can get that. On the daily, this pattern doesn't look complete to me also. So there's a number of them that looks incomplete. This one is good. You can make an argument for that. This is pretty sharp. I don't like this pullback here. It doesn't fit into a normal pattern that we know. So at some point, I think this could come back here to complete this as a running flat. If this is a correction of its own, then this would take off. If not, we're just going to go back up there, make a next one, and then take off to complete this. Right? So that's all you need to know. Basically, it's going to go down, it's going to go back up, it's going to come back down, it's going to go back up. Basically, once you understand patterns, you start seeing. So when you're at the top there, you're aware of this, what this is doing. And you're saying this might not even break the top. If it breaks the top, it's a flat for one more up. If it doesn't break the top and it starts to come down, then we will be selling this because we know this could come down sharp here and then actually go back up. See? Aussie, New Zealand. This one broke out, so it might be taking off finally to the top there. When we were looking at this, if you look at the bigger time of this, I think when I did the webinar, we were coming down here. I wasn't sure if we were going to start to go back up, something like that. So you're watching this now, you've got a flat, and this broke out of this structure. So any consolidation, any flag, anything, or buy setups to the top there, you will still have to look for patterns. You will still have to look for 1 hour patterns, 4 hour patterns, the ones you can trade to the top, the ones that make sense to you, right? Aussie CAD, we're here, and this is incomplete, right? You can literally see that we're going up, we're breaking out of this. This is pretty sharp by itself as a correction. We have made the impulse up. I don't think this is all the correction. It could be, but I don't think so. And this one is pretty sharp. So I can almost tell you right now that this at some point is going to come back down, make another one like this, go back up, and we will still be in the correction in this thing, in the bigger daily, right? So within this move, we're still going to be here. If this comes back down here, go back up, it could make a series of them, and then that means we'll come back here before we go. Now, can this actually come back here and take off? It could. We will be trading it up, so it doesn't make a difference to you, right? It doesn't make a difference whether it goes fast or it goes slow. We just will have to monitor what it does, and then we make the decision, which is what I do different from Elliott Wavers. We don't determine that the pattern is completed and it's going to go. We said, okay, let the pattern do what it's doing. And we just see at every stage, can we forecast the next stage and can we take advantage of that? Do we have a setup to take advantage of that? That's all. It's basically let this prove to me what it's doing, not me deciding that's an ABC and this is going to take off. We follow it and we do forecast for 1 piece, 3 pieces, 5 pieces per time, and then we see how it develops, whether that changes. If you were in here, you would remember me telling you that, right? So some of them look like complete patterns, some of them looks incomplete, which means we might get more consolidation. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you like it. I hope you understand it. If you're having difficulty understanding the method I'm using or how I'm looking at these patterns and you would like to learn from us, send me a Skype message. It's in the details and you will learn. We'll teach you how to do it. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed. Share it. Bye.